before I go out and get some breakfast, start my day. You know, a lot of people don't realize something, okay? And it's funny because I find it to be all ironic. They think that they actually have power in this corrupt world in the stock market. And they believe they have power so much so that they can actually change things for the better. But did it ever occur to anyone, right, that maybe they don't have the power? Maybe decisions are made with or without their vote or approval. Here's the question that I propose. Okay, do we really have voting control over AMC? See, this is the assumption. This is the assumption. The assumption is that Adam Aron has told us we own 90% of AMC, the retail investor. We are, in fact, the majority stockholders and the majority shareholders. So, in theory, we do have power, correct? We have voting power. And we should be able to vote no to the 10-for-1 reverse stock split and win. Technically, if let's say the majority of retail was against the 10-for-1 reverse stock split. Now, it certainly appears that way to me. Listen, again, I can't give you any concrete evidence because I'm not, tallying everyone's votes. I don't know who does that, but the thing is, everywhere I look, the majority seems to be against the 10-for-1 reverse stock split. But now here's the thing. Who is really tallying these votes? How do we know if it's, really coming from retail, these votes? We don't know anything. How do we know who's truly making these decisions? Once again, we find ourselves in the same rabbit hole, okay, which is what? Putting our faith in the corrupt system, right? That's what we're doing. Putting our faith in Adam Aron has our best interests at heart. The AMC board of directors has our best interests at heart. And our vote counts and our vote matters. But did you ever take into consideration maybe it doesn't? Maybe this whole thing is already decided and it doesn't make a difference if we vote yay or nay. I don't think a lot of retail is taking that under consideration. And one of the reasons why is the same thing that we're facing with the alleged synthetic shares. We don't know what's going on. None of us. See, we assume, this is the key, we assume that there are synthetic shares. We assume there are phantom shares. But assuming is not enough. Can we actually prove it? That's the answer. Can we prove it? And if we can't prove it, then it's all meaningless. It's all pointless. It doesn't matter. Because let's face the facts. Can we face the facts? If we could never get to a point where we prove synthetic shares or there allegedly is naked shorty going on at AMC, then if we can't prove it and Gary Gensler doesn't do his job, then it just can continue. So in other words, the corruption can in fact continue. But here's the thing you have to ask yourself. Is it only limited to just that? Or does it go past that? Does it go into voting? Because everyone's got this, they're under the impression. They're under the impression I can vote no. My vote matters. We could stop this if we're all united. I see this all the time. I see this in everybody's message. They say we must be united. All of us, same direction, same goals, vote no. Let's all be united. But I don't think it's occurring to a lot of AMC apes that this might be decided already and that ultimately their vote doesn't matter. Now, their vote does technically matter. Their vote does technically matter, but only if we can prove we are, in fact, the majority shareholders. Now, you might say, well, how can we prove something like that, Ape Father? How can we actually prove? Because don't you understand everything is all up in the air? Don't you understand everything is in theory? We're taking the word of Adam Aron. I don't know if you understand this. We're taking his word. AMC, retail investor, owns 90% of the company. Okay, great. Do we know this for a fact? Have we actually ever seen all the real shares? Have we actually seen all the fake shares? The answer is no. We have no idea how many shares are in AMC. This is all just taking the word of the CEO. We own the majority of AMC. So, but once again, now there comes a situation where there's a 10-for-1 reverse stock split proposal on the table. They're discussing it on March 14th. How do we really know if we all did, in fact, the majority of us voted no, that this would be stopped? How do we know? Well, let's say it goes through. How do we know if our vote even made any difference whatsoever, right? Okay, we don't know. So once again, it's all up in the air. Everything in this crazy stock market, everything in this crazy AMC stock is up in the air. I love you, John. Good morning, brother. But do you follow what I'm trying to say to you? Everything is up in the air. Everything. So you might say, well, what can we do, right, to not make it up in the air? Okay? I hope you have a wonderful day too, John. God bless you, brother. Well, here's one definite thing, because a lot of people, they bring up a lot of things. You don't know if Adam Aron, you don't know if the AMC board of directors would ever accept selling AMC. But what you don't understand is this. Here's one thing that's pretty much something they can't stop. And I've been saying this a million times. If we actually got a tremendous amount of apes, okay, listen to me, to agree to send me emails, which again, my email is Richard, RICHARD, L is in Larry, E is in Edward, 101 at gmail.com. Besides the big goal of acquiring AMC, firing Adam Aron, and firing the board of directors, we may have a plan B. Okay, now hear me out. Plan B might be to incorporate an entity that could buy the majority of AMC, could buy 51% of AMC. Now, let me explain to you why this is so much more important than right now currently assuming we own the majority of AMC. This fact, in this particular scenario, it would be concrete evidence, concrete facts on exactly how much retail owns. And because it's controlled by an entity, this entity could appoint one person. It could appoint one person who could have the voting rights and represent that entity. So you might say, what are you talking about? I don't follow you. This doesn't. Well, okay, try to follow this. Imagine if one person could just approach the board and say, I vote no. I vote no for the 10-for-1 reverse stock split. But this one person represents a group, represents an entity that controls AMC. And that there's no question anymore. Listen to me. There's no question if this entity owns the majority of AMC. It's all factual. This is not based on Adam Aron's opinion. This is not based on rumors. This is not based on fiction. It's based on fact. This entity, let's just say, we're speaking, of course, hypothetically, but this entity does in fact own, let's just say, 51% of AMC. So in theory, it should be this simple. This entity and this one person who they appoint to represent the entity should be able to go to that meeting on March 14th and just say, I take all my 51% of AMC and vote no. I vote no for the 10-for-1 reverse stock split. Now, the theory behind this is that that's it. It should be now a closed issue. Done deal. The 10-for-1 reverse stock split should be off the table. Because that's it. You have the majority of the stockholders voting no. And no one can dispute this. Do you see what I'm trying to say? No one could argue this. No one could dispute it because it's finished. It's done. See, where we have right now, what's currently in place, and this is what nobody understands. The system that's currently in place is all a system based on assumption That's what you don't, all of you don't understand. Because I see all these people on every single video, and I see all these YouTube influencers pushing a narrative. And let's go with the narrative that they're pushing. Let's vote no. Let's go with that narrative. Okay. How do you know, even though you're making a video and you're telling your audience that it is not in their best interest, right? To obviously vote yes, but it's in their best interest to vote no, because there's plenty of YouTube influencers doing all of this stuff. Okay. But how do we know at the end of the day that Adam Aron and the AMC board of directors even need our vote? How do we know that this is not already in the cards? It's already done. It's going to be a yes, and the 10-for-1 reverse stock split's going to go through. We don't know none of this because, once again, you're basing everything on trust. You're basing things on trust of Adam Aron, trust of the board of directors. Did you ever maybe say, maybe we can't trust them? Did that thought ever cross your head? Did you ever take a few minutes out and say, maybe we can't trust these people? I don't think you did. I got to tell you the truth. I don't think you did. I think a lot of people are just under the assumption their vote counts. They can simply vote no. And whoever is processing this, whatever systems are being used, it will be done, in terms of an honorable system. And retail does, in fact, own 90% of AMC, and everything will work out in the best interest of retail and in the best interest of the AMC stockholders. Okay, I'm gonna go check out that video, No Limit Soldier, and I'll make my mother enjoy it. You make me laugh, man. But if you add an entity, this is what I'm trying to make all of you understand. If you add an entity that represented 51%, meaning we controlled over 51%, even, let's just say, but we were the majority stockholders, nobody can now dispute. It would be a simple process. You want to know how simple it was? I was actually watching the movie Mr. Deeds with Adam Sandler the other night. And I don't know if you ever saw a great movie, great movie, Longfellow Deeds. He didn't know he had this very successful uncle that owned Blake Media. Okay. So his uncle died. I know he was trying to climb, I think it was Mount Everest or something. He froze his balls off. And Longfellow Deeds inherited like something 300 million shares that was worth something like $40 billion. So the whole movie had so much to do with voting rights. And I actually recommend every single AMC ape to watch this movie. Not only for the fact that Adam Sandler is probably the funniest man alive, and not only for the fact that it's very entertaining, but you should watch it just to see like a proxy meeting, just to see how voting works. And in the case of this movie, the one guy who was like the bad guy, he was like the executive, the guy who truly ran Blake Media, okay, tricked Longfellow Deeds, which was, he tricked him into selling him his shares. So now he had the control. He had the voting power. Remember, he was just one person. And remember because he did the same exact thing. He got a bunch of whatever it was, funding from banks. He got a bunch of funding from investors. He incorporated an entity, and this entity appointed this guy. He was the bad guy. He was the the guy at the proxy meeting who was the executor. He was the guy who controlled the entity. And remember, he said, "I'm using my voting power to vote no. Blake Media is no more." So ultimately, what he wanted to do was break up the company and sell it into pieces. And all the 50,000 employees of Blake Media were going to be terminated, were going to be fired. But then they found evidence that Adam Sandler wasn't, in fact, Longfellow Deeds wasn't, in fact, the true heir of Blake Media. And there was that, that funny dude. He's like, "I hail from Spain," he was having an affair. You follow me? The uncle was having an affair with the maid, like kind of like an Arnold Schwarzenegger situation. You know what I mean? And they had a baby that nobody knew about. The baby was the butler. He was the butler, and he was the true heir. he was the true heir of Blake Media, and then he took full control of the company, fired that bad dude, that bad guy, and then obviously the 50,000 employees were saved. And then he ended up giving Longfellow Deeds $1 billion. He said, "How can I thank you for what you did?" He gave him $1 billion. Okay, so I know this is a great movie and we all find it entertaining, but this has a lot to do with AMC. And if you actually watch it from that perspective, if you watch Mr. Deeds, you'll realize it has a lot to do with actual voting power. Like, in other words, why can't we do the same exact thing? Why can't we have an entity that's factually proven, okay? No BS, to own 51% or more of AMC, appoint one person, and then in theory, this is what you're not understanding. You don't need Adam Aron's approval for this because AMC is a publicly traded company. You don't need Adam Aron's approval. You don't. It has nothing to do with their bylaws because everyone keeps bringing up their bylaws. It has nothing to do with their bylaws. It's nothing to do with their bylaws. You don't need the board of directors. You have an entity that owns 51% or more of AMC. They appoint one person. That one person should be able to go down to any proxy meeting or board of directors meeting, whatever the case may be, and say, "I take my 51% of shares and vote no. I vote no to the 10-for-1 reverse stock split." And it should be a done deal, technically, in theory. He said, "You're fired." Yeah, remember that in the movie? Exactly. But the point is that it all comes down to voting power. See, we don't realize it, but we're actually in this situation right now, John. You know what I mean? That the movie that what I'm talking about, Mr. Deeds, was in. We're in the same exact situation where the board of directors, Adam Aron, is asking for the shareholders to vote. Okay? They're asking for the shareholders to vote yes or no to a 10-for-1 reverse stock split. The only problem is the current system that we have, and this is the point I'm trying to make. How do we really know for a fact if our vote matters? How do we know for a fact if our vote counts? Who's tallying all these votes? How do we know for a fact if retail really owns the majority of AMC, like Adam Aron is claiming? How do we know? We've never seen the real shares. We've never seen the fake shares. So do you see what I'm trying to say? This is just as much of a mystery. This is just as much of a mystery as synthetic shares are. You know how we don't really know for a fact if they're synthetic shares? Okay. We don't really know for a fact in terms of, how many real shares or fake shares or whatever is out there. We don't really know for a fact if retail does own 90% of AMC. We don't really know for a fact where our votes are going. So that's why this idea that I'm telling you about of actually, if worst case scenario, you can't acquire AMC. Let's just say worst case scenario. It's not a hostile takeover cannot happen. Okay, whatever. It's possible it can happen. But let's just say it doesn't happen. This plan B is so strong and so powerful that nobody, and I mean nobody, could stop it. Who could stop it? Tell me. Who could stop, who could stop us forming an entity, right? Buying 51% of AMC and then appointing one person, and let's just say that one person is me, to go to a proxy meeting, to go to this current meeting on March 14th, and just simply say the following. Are you ready? I take my 51 shares and vote no. Vote no. So in theory, and I don't want to keep being redundant because I want to, answer your questions if you do have any questions. That should be the end of the 10-for-1 reverse stock split because you have the majority shareholder voting no. Now, nobody can dispute that. Don't you understand? It can't be disputed. You ever see like that movie Undisputed? It can't be disputed because you have factual proof, factual evidence that this entity and this one person that was appointed by this entity does in fact control the company. But you see, we don't have this factual proof. We don't have this factual proof. All we have is assumptions. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if we vote yes, if we vote no. Of course, we want to vote no, right? At least I hope so. Let's see here. You broke Chad and my heart last night. I'm sorry, brother. Sometimes you got to choose between the wife. We're gonna go out and drink. Don't worry about it. We're gonna go out and drink. The wife. You have to understand, brother. The wife hasn't been feeling so great lately. God bless her. I'm a little worried about her. She hasn't been feeling so good, and she just said to me, don't go out. Don't go to the bar. Don't get drunk. Don't get wasted. So I was like, I have to choose the wife, man. That's it. Sometimes you got to make a choice in life. You got to say wife or, I don't know what else. Fans, right? Fans or family. I don't know. You got to choose family. You always got to choose family. Got to get a haircut, man. I've been constantly putting this off. Got to get my damn haircut. But we'll talk about that another point. A father is an ambitious man. Thank you, John. Well, you know what it is? Can I tell you the difference between me and most people? Okay. I wouldn't even call it ambition. I wouldn't even use that word. I would say common sense. One thing I think I have over a lot of people is common basic sense. Because I'm telling you, man, I look at so many YouTubers, I watch their channels, I read comments, and everybody is under the impression that their vote counts. That's it. Everybody's got this whole thing going. I'm voting no, as if that makes a difference. As if that's why I hate to say it. I feel sometimes that a lot of people are in fact laughing at us. Like I can picture Adam Aron laughing at us. I can picture the AMC board of directors laughing at us, thinking they're all laughing. Like he's probably sitting back, they're doing shots of like Johnny Walker Blue, right? And they're all the board of directors and Adam Aron, and they're like, these friggin' idiots actually think that their vote counts. These idiots think that they actually have a say. And he's like, you know what I mean? Listen, no limit soldier, brother. Listen to me. We can keep having rally after rally. We can whatever it is you want to do. At the end of the day, aren't don't you see what's happening? Can't all of you see what's I know John sees it. John obviously sees it, John Nito. But we're in a system, brother, that we can't control. And I just feel like with all these great efforts that you're all trying to do, like what the Marine did, I'm not taking away his efforts. But at the end of the day, nothing was accomplished. I'm not trying to be a jerk off. Like everyone thinks I'm a jerk off. That the Marine tried to do. I get it. I get it. He tried. That's the word. Listen to the word. Tried. He tried to do something. Okay. But the thing is, yeah, Billy the Kid, he's gonna show up, right? But the thing is, with all these rallies and with all these protests, what are they amounting to? Like what's happening? It's still it's still a rigged system. It's still a controlled system. It's still a corrupt system. So what I think is the more for you to see this is rather than put all of this time and all of this effort into organizing protests, into organizing rallies, and to doing all of this, why not put that same effort? Why not put that same time into organizing a project that I just said? Something so simple. Something so simple, such as emails. Listen, you want to know how simple this whole process is? Listen to how simple this whole process is. If enough people sent me an email to Richard, RICHARD, L as in Larry, E as in Edward, 101 at gmail.com. If enough people did it, I could eventually hire a law firm. I could explain that we want to incorporate an entity. Simple. Very, very simple. And this entity will use the funds raised through crowdfunding that is, of course, registered and regulated through the SEC to acquire more than 51, at least 51% or more of AMC. Now, this entity could appoint one person. The one person could go in front of Adam Aron, could go in front of the board of directors at a proxy meeting and simply say, I vote no. I vote the 51%, the majority shares of AMC. I vote no to the reverse stock split. Now, in this particular case, that's it. It's off the table. It's off the table. And no one could dispute it. It's undisputed. No one. We win. Okay? But it's like I just see like all these other YouTubers, they're all just you know what I feel like? I like to call it they're pitching a dream. That's what they're pitching. I'm pitching something that, if in effect that actually happened, would be reality. Everybody else is pitching a dream. They're just not accepting that we're living in the land of corruption. They're not accepting that this vote could be already decided with or without their vote. They're not accepting it. And they're continuously putting faith in Adam Aron. They're continuously putting faith in the board of directors of AMC. And they're continuously getting their ass handed to them. But it seems like that's what most people like. Most people seem to like that. They're like, oh, Adam Aron has the best interest for us. Boaz after the reverse stock split. Please give me a break. It is already decided, but you see, what you all don't understand is it doesn't have to be that way. It's if enough apes had common sense, which it's sad to say they don't. If enough AMC apes had common sense, and they could just see through a simple solution. It's a simple solution, which is like again to incorporated entity that factually, not in theory, but factually controls 51% of the company, appoints one person. That one person could vote no. And technically, the 10-for-1 reverse stock split should be off the table. And that's the bottom line. I'm not going to keep repeating it. To me, it's very simple. All of this is very simple. It's common sense. Listen, the reason why it probably won't happen, John, is not because of you, because you're a strong ape with diamond balls of steel. And the reason why it won't happen is not because of me, because I'm a true ape with diamond balls of steel. The reason why it won't happen is for the same reason why a lot of apes will never see the Boaz, unfortunately. And the reason is because they don't realize the power retail has. They just don't realize it. It's either they're blinded by the light, they're blinded by the truth, or they're just dumb. I don't know which one it is. I think sometimes we lived in such a controlled world for so long. You understand? We all lived in such a controlled world. We're used to being controlled. We're used to being puppets. That's what's happening. We're all used to being puppets in a world controlled by puppet masters. That's it. You know what I mean? I always gave the analogy, like, hey, you want to hear a funny analogy? What would happen if, let's say, we're all crossing like the Verrazano Bridge or whatever the case may be, and everybody decided to not pay like a toll? What do you think is going to happen? You think that people are going to run in front of the cars and say, stop, you must pay, stop, right? That's another reason why they created Easy Pass. Because of that reason. I really believe that. But it's just all controlled. Everything we do, every action we take every day of our lives, you don't realize that we live in a controlled world. We live in a controlled society. Who makes the rules for us? And we all blindlessly follow the rules. And what happens is while we're following the rules, there are people in power making all the money. And they're laughing. Law and order, but to a certain degree, controlled order. Controlled, man. Not when there's corruption involved, John, though. Not when there's corruption involved, brother. We need rules. We need politics. But we need rules and politics that not only benefit the 1%, brother. We need rules and politics that benefit all of us as a society. You see what I'm trying to say? It can't be that we have rules and politics, and at the end of the day, the 1% keep getting richer, and the poorer keep getting poorer. You understand what I'm trying to say, brother? We have to have rules and law and order that protects everyone. That's the way I see it. And we don't. We don't. It seems like, specifically in the stock market, it seems like these rules that have been set in place, okay, has been to only benefit the rich. That's it. That's it. In other words, it doesn't benefit the middle class. It doesn't benefit the poor. It benefits the rich. And do you want to hear the proof of this? You want to hear the proof of their very simple proof. In 2022, retail investors have lost $350 billion. That's the proof. There it is. We have lost $350 billion while Citadel made $16 billion. While Citadel started off 2023 with $50 billion in assets. So let me ask you a question. Who's benefiting? Can anyone explain this to me like I'm a 6-year-old? If we're all losing our money, where is all of this $350 billion going? Is that law and order to you, John? I'm just trying to understand, because when you say law and order and we need rules of politics, where is that $350 billion going to? It's going to the rich. It's going to the 1%. Well, listen, I spoke my piece. Exactly. That's why Ken Griffin keeps getting more and more richer, more and more powerful. And that's why Ken Griffin continues his mission in his life to monopolize the stock market. That's really what I feel his goal is. And that's why he's a market maker. That's why he's a short seller. He's all of these things that combine to give himself such a competitive edge that he's making money no matter what happens. No matter what happens, he's making money. You go on to Robinhood. You go on to Webull. You do a day trade, let's say. You buy stock, Ken Griffin makes money. You sell stock, Ken Griffin makes money. He's making money no matter what happens. Isn't that great? No matter what happens, this dude is making money. And when I first started YouTube, my mission was, you remember how much I was pushing fidelity? That was my mission. My mission was a very simple mission. Stop buying stock on payment for order flow platforms. I used to tell people, remember I say this? Why are you using, and then you see Teddy Zane. Remember Teddy Zane? I got my Robinhood account. I got my Webull account. And I'm just like, oh my God, what is wrong with these people? Like, there are still people right now that have Robinhood. There are still people right now that have Webull. And what you're not understanding is every single time you buy and every single time you sell, you're making Ken Griffin more and more richer. But this is what I'm saying. It's like you know, it's like you preach a certain message to people. How many times can you preach it, John? How many times can you preach it before you say people are either retarded, they're dumb, you know what I mean? They have no common sense, they have no brains. Because it's like you keep seeing people do this. And then you know what it is? I'll make you laugh. It's these same people who will cry over corruption. It's these same people who, in essence, are supporting corruption. They're supporting corruption, will cry about corruption. Like, so, you know, the first question I ask somebody when they try to argue with the Apefather? Like, somebody will have an argument with me. They'll say, you know, Apefather, I don't like you. I don't like anything you say. First thing I ask them, I said, let me ask you a question. What brokerage app you use? I'm using Robinhood. So I would say to them, you realize that's a payment for order flow platform, right? You realize every time you're buying on it, every time you're selling on it, you're making Ken Griffin. And these are the people who are showing up at the protest with the Marine. The Marine and all these people are probably on Robinhood. They're probably on Webull. That's why, you want to know why the Marine didn't bring up payment for order flow platforms? You want to hear the reason why? Because they're probably all on payment for order flow platform. Like, why bring up a talking point, right? Why bring up a point when he's using these platforms? Like, I'm just curious, did the Marine ever say what platform he's on? I don't think I've ever heard him say it before. I'm just, because I know he didn't mention it when Charles Payne asked him the question. When Charles Payne said, what's going on? He didn't mention payment for order flow platforms. AMC is about to run. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. It's always about the run. It's always about to have the Boaz. I've been hearing this for about 2 years straight. Run, run, run. Forrest Gump. Run, Forrest. Thank you, Sam the Great. At least once in a while you compliment me. Thank you. I'm just saying, man, look, I just wish all of you had common sense. Because you want to know what the real truth is, John? I know you're laughing. You know what the real truth is? We are technically more powerful. Run, Kenny, right? We are technically more powerful than Ken Griffin. I know it's hard for all of you to believe this. If we were all smart, if we were all organized, okay, we have millions and millions of people, retail investors all around the world, that if grouped together and was organized, bro, we could beat everybody. We could beat everybody. But it's like you're talking sometimes to deaf ears. And that's where I agree with John. You're talking to deaf ears. I don't know what it is, but sometimes I wonder, do people actually want to win? Like, do people actually want life-changing wealth? Do they actually want generational wealth? Commander 35, do it, baby. Richard, RICHARD, L as in Larry, E as in Edward, 101 at gmail.com. Now, I just want to make a point that there is no solicitation for an investment because I know people keep asking this over. Like, I get this over and over. I am not asking for any investment. The only time would be if I accumulated enough emails, which step one is the hardest part. I mean, I don't even know if I could get past step one, just to let all of you know this. I'm just attempting it. I'm trying with my best ability to do it. I would have to get a tremendous amount of emails before I could even go to step two. Step two is the legal process. Step two is hiring the law firm. Step two is filing all the legal paperwork, and obviously then providing that legal paperwork to you for your review. So that's why I always tell people like Sam the Great, because I know he's going to start screaming any second. He's going to start screaming, make calls, do this, do that, do this. You got to first accumulate the support, brother. He doesn't understand it. You got to first accumulate the support. That's it. That is step one. Accumulate the support. That's exactly right. John Wick Snippin. Stay on step one. Gather the emails. Once again, here's my email address. Richard, RICHARD, L as in Larry, E as in Edward, 101 at gmail.com. Now, here's another thing that I think sometimes mix a lot of people up. I have a lot of people, right? Check this out. When I make a video, I'll see on the comment section, you know what they'll say? I support you, A Father. I'm in A Father. But I noticed that these people who are saying this a lot, in many, many cases, are not sending emails. So what I try to tell people is you simply commenting, okay, saying, "Hey, Father, I support you." It's not enough. You got to send me an email because I need to keep track of it. I can't, it's physically impossible for me to keep track of comments. I cannot keep track of comments. Mark Tube, there he is. Yay. Mark Tube, support the A Father with an email. You know, it's funny how much you're afraid of me, little A Father. Oh, here he goes again. Everyone said AMC $100 this week. Yeah. Listen, it's a very simple proposal. Okay. The proposal is either to accept being controlled, you understand, to accept the rich getting richer, to accept the poor getting poorer, or to make a change. That's it. It's that simple. I don't like being controlled, man. I don't know about you. I don't like having my destiny already written for me. I like to make my own destiny. I like to be in control of my future. Okay. But the way that this stock market is set up, and I know it's not just AMC, people keep repeating this to me, man. I understand, but you have to have step one. You have to have the first domino in place before you can have the domino effect. See, sometimes I think another thing that happens is that people want too much at once. You understand? They want to accomplish too much at once. They're like, look, we want the whole market reform. See, that was another thing like the Marines protest. It really, in my opinion, wasn't based on AMC. It was based on the entire stock market. But that is, listen, that's too big of a goal. It's too big of a goal to reform the entire stock market, okay? Like, and if you believe a simple protest of 75 people will do that, or an awareness campaign or whatever you want to call it, it's no, it's too big. It's too big. You got to take what's called baby steps. Baby steps. I understand we want the whole stock market to be fair. I get it, but you're talking about a gigantic leap. Okay, so why not focus on one particular stock that is, let's say a victim, you could say, of corruption, a victim of this, dominance of the 1%, and then start from there and move forward. You see what I'm trying to say? You can't think, look, it's one thing. Donald Trump said it the best. You want to hear what Donald Trump said? He says, I find myself when I'm in the middle of a project, right? Let's say he's building a building somewhere, okay? He says, I find myself wanting to do more. Like I want to build a building, somewhere else. I want to get involved in another deal. I want to keep doing more and more deals. But he says, every time I put too much on my plate, he goes, nothing works out. So what he tries to do is he has one goal, start that goal, finish that goal, and then when you succeed and complete that one goal, move on to the next. You see what I'm trying to say? So that's what I'm trying to do here is set up one domino. Start with one domino, and then I believe that that one domino will ultimately start the domino effect. So what's the first step? Focus on AMC. I believe AMC could potentially have tremendous amounts of synthetic shares, tremendous amounts of phantom shares. So that's why focus on this company. Focus on either the ultimate goal would be a takeover. I mean, if it's possible, it may not be possible with the bylaws. It may not be possible, but you know what? Anything is possible for the right price. Remember something: money talks and bullshit walks. When you have money and you offer premiums and you offer things, money talks and bullshit walks. Everything is for sale. I love it when people say they got to see that for sale sign. You ever see the movie Bugsy? Remember the movie Bugsy when he just like was like driving, right? And he stopped at that guy who was the opera singer's house. He just walks in with like cash. Like the guy didn't want to sell his house. He goes, "What's the best hotel over here?" He goes, "Whatever, the Metropolitan, whatever." He goes, "That's where you're staying tonight." He was kicking. Imagine you just walk into someone's house and buy their house. Like they don't have their house up for sale. They have no intention of selling their house. You knock on their door, right? You walk in, they're like, "Hey, how you doing? How you doing? You're going to a hotel tonight. Pack all your bags. I'm buying your house." And you just pull out cash. I mean, listen, it's true. Money talks and bullshit walks. It's the truth. I'm going to try to read some of these comments here. Sam the Great is saying a whole bunch of stuff. Why is John Wick being nice to you? I'm not even sure if this is the real John Wick snippet. I never know when I'm reading these comments who's real. I never know who's a bot. Like I'll give you an example. The only person I know for a fact is real is No Limit Soldier. And the reason why I know that he's real is because Dale will back up his comment, listen to this, with an actual video. So he'll comment on the live stream, right? And then he'll make a video. So I know that it had to be Dale. I know it really had to be him because obviously if he's commenting the same thing that he's making the video about, once again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. He was really in the live stream. But that's the thing. If someone merely is coming here saying that they're John Wick snipping or they're coming here saying that they're Chad Clifford, but then there's no video, right? There's no video to back up. See, that's what I would really like. You know what I would really like from the YouTube influencers? If they really supported me, they should make videos about it. They should make videos about it. They should talk about what we're talking about on these live streams to their audience. Because at the end of the day, we really are in this together, man. We're in this together. We all want the same things. We want to win. We want life changing wealth. We want generational wealth. We want to expose the corruption. We want to expose the synthetics. But it's not going to happen. Let me tell you something. It's not going to happen by putting your faith in a system that does not have your best interest at heart. And that is, I see too many people writing comments. I trust in Adam Aron. This is what I see. I trust in him. He will bring us to the promised land. He will bring us to the Moaz. Well, keep trusting in a system that doesn't give a shit about you and see what happens, okay? Lou is corrupt himself to the core. This is Daniel Sam talking. If you're a real man, let him join the stream. Look, I'm not really technically savvy, but I tell people I have no problem if people want to join the stream. I can work something out. I can work something out where we can organize a live stream. I'll do it. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. I've had many cases where I went on Rants live stream. I went on Strongman Personal Finance, live stream. We've had many debates. A lot better than freaking trying to raise millions and buy. What's a lot better? We pull all of our money out from AMC. That's not a lot better, Sam, because you're just giving up, bro. You're giving up and see, that's what they want you to do. Sam, what Ken Griffin wants you to do, what the corruption wants you to do is to quit, is to sell, is to give up. Now, understand something. I can't tell none of you what to do because at the end of the day, I am not a financial planner. I don't give financial advice. I'm an entertainer. So if you choose to sell, that's on you. That's your prerogative. I can't stop you. It's your money. But at the same time, who wants to sell at these prices, right? I mean, what are you, nuts, right? So I'm just saying, listen, you got to do what's best for you. That's the end result. You got to do what's best for you, and you got to do what's best for your family, which I'm sure all of you do at the end of the day. You all choose, just like I had to make a choice between going to a bar and getting completely drunk and wrecked and probably having a divorce. You got to always choose your family. Look, I used to believe the same thing, Sam, Like my first initial idea, Sam, was boycott AMC. That was my idea. I see where you're going with this, Sam. My first idea was boycott AMC, get out of AMC. I was thinking like you. But I come to realize that this is what the problem is, bro. The problem is there is so much corruption going on. Listen to me. You have no idea what's going on. And this is the thing that you're just not grasping. There is a lot of things going on behind closed doors. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Did you ever consider that the hedge fund's ultimate goal is they want AMC to go bankrupt? They want AMC to go bankrupt. They want us to collapse because that this way all of their synthetics disappear. See, like you look at a guy like this guy, Reuben Morgan. Now, here's an example, right? You look at this guy that I have been I'm probably the most transparent YouTuber that has ever lived. Okay. You know my address. You know my wife's name. You know my children's name. You've seen my portfolio many a times. The result was my transparency led to a lot of problems in my family. Child Protective Services were called, fake, obviously fraudulent reports were made, fraudulent police reports were made, DoorDash. I could go on and on and on. So look, Ruben, you could go F yourself. Look, I've been the most transparent YouTuber in the history of YouTube. I'm more transparent than any other YouTuber. Like, hey, you want to actually like laugh? There's this guy called the Liver King. Have you ever heard of this guy before? He's a big social media influencer. The guy's like a beast. He looks like the Hulk. He's all ripped up, right? Okay. So he's getting sued for $25 million now because he made it seem that he was selling these crazy supplements and all these things that were like, I don't know, the guy eats friggin' sheep's testicles. I don't know what this guy eats. The guy he comes across like he's a barbarian. This guy, he comes across like he's a savage, and he was saying that the way he lives like a barbarian is why he's so ripped. So he started selling his own products. And what happens is that they recently found out that he was taking steroids, that he was spending $12,000 a month on steroids. So now the bottom line is all of his influencers are saying, so you lied, you weren't really transparent, you made us understand that you were a savage, you were a barbarian, you were living off the land, you were living off the land. He goes, you were living off steroids. So now there's a lawsuit. So look, you want to know what the bottom line is? Listen to me, brother. You could all say whatever you want from me. I have been the most transparent YouTuber on earth. You should go to Lou. The person you should have the problem with is Lou, not me. Lou has never been transparent. Okay? All Lou does is make claim after claim after claim after claim. That's all he does. And you never question him. You always let him off the hook. Okay? And you continuously watch Lou. So I got on. See, I used to get enraged. I used to get enraged at Lou. There was times where I would make like 100 videos a day just about Lou. See, now I cut them down. Maybe sometimes I occasionally make one video, two videos. Thank you, Sam the Great. I appreciate it. But you know what I learned? You take a guy like Lou, he makes claims like, you want to hear some of the claims Lou has made? He was approached by corrupt banks. I never forget this. They offered him more money, the corrupt banks, than he would make on the AMC MOAS. Nobody questions him. He says he makes millions of dollars on GTII. Nobody questions him. I made millions of dollars on COSM. Nobody questions him. And he keeps going on and on and on and on. And nobody questions him. Nobody questions him. So it kind of taught me something. I learned something from Lou. You can't always be 100% transparent because people use your transparency against you. They use your kindness. They use your honesty to hurt you. Like, you ever hear like when someone gets arrested and they read the Miranda rights? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be held against you by a court of law. You have the right to an attorney, right? The Miranda rights, okay? So what they're basically saying to you is anything that you say and anything that you do can be held against you. And that's kind of like what I learned about haters. I learned about haters. If you give them too much information, they're going to use it against you. They're going to use it to hurt you. They're not going to, no one in this world wants to see you do well. No one in this world wants to see you benefit. Everyone seems to want to see you suffer. People love when other people suffer. That's the big entertainment. It's crazy, man. We're going to go to the bar. Relax. Me and you. I think it'd be more funnier if me and you, and I'm talking to No Limit Soldier, went to the bar. I think it'd be more funnier than just me going by myself. And I think if we got Chad Clifford to come and film it. Chad Clifford said the other day in the live stream, I can't embarrass him. So let's see if he let's see if Chad would show up to the bar. All right. Mark Tube, you should go after Lou, bro. You should go after Lou, not the ape fella. Go after Lou. You want to show me that you're a really scary guy? Scare Lou. I scared Lou. I bet you can't. Okay, go after Lou, man. Lou has been bullshitting all of you for so long. This guy, and it's really sad because this friggin' dude actually made. You know what's funny? For all the things you all complain about, right? You all complain about Like, oh, Ape Father, you have to earn money. Did Lou earn money? Did Lou earn the money he made? I think Lou could have potentially made like $300,000 or more, possibly on YouTube. And the funny thing is he deleted his channel. He deleted all of his videos, right? And now he's still doing it, and you're still watching him. So, I mean, think about what kind of idiots that makes all of these people who keep supporting this guy. Because, listen, I don't blame Lou at the end of the day. I don't blame Lou because I don't think Lou is done. I don't think Lou is still getting views. Lou is still getting views. He's building up his new channel, and people are still watching him, and he's still doing what he's got to do. So I don't think Lou is done. I think Lou is smart. I think Lou is smart. I think Lou is more smarter than people give him credit for because he's smart. He builds up a channel, he makes a ton of money, and then after that, he destroys all the evidence, right? He deletes the channel, he deletes all the after he said, "Let me make $1 million." After Lou makes $1 million, he deletes his channel, he deletes all his videos, and then he starts from scratch again. It's actually kind of brilliant if you think about it. Oh, this guy Mark Tube. I don't know what you get out of all this stuff, brother. Lou for real. The love child of Lou and Phil. Ha ha ha. That's funny. So anyway, I do gotta get some breakfast. I keep making live streams. I've been making a live. Come on, you gotta give me credit. I was making no live streams at one point. I was only doing only videos. And I was maybe making a live stream every like if you're lucky, maybe one a month or something. I've been doing a tremendous amount of live streams. And I'm gonna continue doing a tremendous amount of live streams. But the only problem is I can't do like I'm not, I my standard breakfast I'm gonna get nothing crazy. No carbohydrates. Nothing with sugar, no carbohydrates. It's basically a protein breakfast. So probably it's going to consist of maybe egg whites, maybe a little spinach, maybe a little mushrooms. We'll see. I'm gonna see if I can get my wife to get up right now. She hasn't been feeling so great. God bless her. The last couple I'm kind of worried about her. The last couple of days, I've been letting her get a lot of rest. Ape Father one omelet, turkey, bacon. I like turkey. I like bacon. Um, so it's I've been staying away from the carbs. That's the key. Steak and mushrooms is definitely good. But that's good, you know why? Because steak is protein, you can't go wrong. I gotta definitely try these food at one point, Red Cloud, 100%. But like I said, I'm sorry if you just got here. It's just I've been on here for about 58 minutes and I'm freaking starving. So I definitely gotta go eat. Mark Tube, you know what? I'm not scared of anybody. The Ape Father is not scared of nothing and no one. You know that, brother. Well, I already accepted your challenge, No Limit. So I thought we already, No Limit Soldier. I thought we already accepted the challenge where we're having a meeting loss. It's about doing the curls to get the girls. Well, in your case, you got to get the girls. I'm married, right? The curls I got to get are my pubic curls. Listen, Mark, I'll tell you what, Mark, too. Listen, to me. I'll tell you what. I will figure out a day where I'm going to do an open forum debate. And you're always invited. Everyone is always. I'll do something. I'm going to see if I can plan something for all of. But I'm not only doing this for Mark Tube. I'm actually doing this because I really want to discuss my ideas. I want to discuss what we have to do to win. So I'm going to see if I could, do something like an open forum where everybody can speak. I'm definitely interested in doing that. So I will keep you all up to date on that. We're gonna have a lot of fun in February. A lot of fun. All right. So listen, Ape Fallah's got to get something to eat. I'm gonna end the live stream, but I will be back very, very soon. I'm gonna be doing a tremendous amount of live streams. So it's not financial advice, this live stream, not a financial planner. It's not legal advice. I'm not an attorney. This live stream and all of my live streams and all of my videos are for entertainment purposes only, because that's what I am, the world's greatest entertainer. The one and only ape faller gonna get some breakfast. Wow! Peace out.